There is a path from where you are to where you want to be on every subject, because the source within you knows what you want and knows where you are and knows how to lead you to what you want. And so we call that the path of least resistance, because if you've got resistance going on, you can't see the path. In other words, if you really want something and you're trying so hard to make it happen, the very effort that you are offering is the indicator that you've got the wrong frequency going on and you just can't see the path. You can see the path of most resistance: work long hours, get too tired, try to get other people to understand what I mean, explain until I think my head's going to explode, need others to see it my way, justify my position, defend my position, rationalize my decision, try. That won't get you to where you want to be, and the path that you're on is miserable in the process. That's the path of most resistance. So when you begin to understand that you are a vibrational being and that you live in a vibrational universe, and you understand the physics of vibration, and you really do, you just sometimes don't know that you do, then you can have a path of ease and flow and fun and clarity and precision. Oh, clarity. Nothing more delicious than to want something and feel yourself in the process of becoming it. So we want to put a lot of emphasis, most of the emphasis, on what you're doing with your point of attraction. How you doing vibrationally? Do you have a big wad of resistance all balled up in you? You can tell if you're ornery all the time, or if you're fearful, or if you're angry. That's what that means. But if you are joyful, if you're feeling good, if you feel lighthearted, you remember that lighthearted feeling? You remember being a kid and having a day when nobody was on your case? They didn't even know for sure where you were. And you felt free. You felt free. That lighthearted feeling. Esther used to say to Jerry, let's go get a Coke and pretend like we're on vacation. It's like that feeling of being on vacation, that feeling that nothing needed to be done other than what I am feeling my way to. That's the way you are meant to live every single day. That's the way it's supposed to be all the time. And until it is that way, you're not going to be in a place where you're following your path, and you're going to be working way harder for the crummy little things that you're allowing for yourself, instead of, don't mean to be disrespectful, but really the mediocrity that you put up with. It's stunning. It's stunning how much of what you really want you are denying yourselves of having. Oh, and then you justify, well, I want to be spiritual. I don't want to be materialistic. And we say, then you should have stayed where we are, where nothing manifests. Just think about things. But you're here for manifestation. Manifestation is the most spiritual, perfect part of the creative process. That's why everything that you know as God and Source and Spirit is focused here with you, out here on the leading edge. And in fact, that is the only reason that you are ever able to ever feel negative emotion, because all this source is focused with you on this path of culmination and creation and cooperation and delicious expansion. And when you deprive yourself of that signal, you feel rotten. And then you assume you're doing something wrong or that you're being denied it. You are not ever being denied anything, but you deny yourself plenty. And the way you deny yourself plenty is by getting all screwy in your vibration. Things like, I'm not a good person. Are you kidding? I'm not a good person. I wasn't born at the right time. Or my mother, it's my mother's fault. Whether you are blaming yourself or someone else, you're holding yourself in a vibrational frequency that is not allowing you what you're wanting to come into your experience. So we're eager to visit with you today. We want to help you to understand that the laws of physics that you understand, like the law of gravity, which is consistent, you don't have to go to a school about gravity. They don't say to you in your first days in school, you know, if you don't come to this class, you could fall up. Because the law is consistent. It works the same for everyone. And you learn to utilize the law to your advantage. And the law of attraction is such a law. It is utterly consistent. It never makes an exception, and it never makes a mistake. So you have to figure out how to work within the laws of the universe. We cannot talk about the law of attraction without introducing to the subject the word momentum, because law of attraction is the reason that momentum exists. When you give your attention to something for as little as 17 seconds, at that 17-second point, there is a momentum that is discernible as another thought like it joins it, and so forth. So the more you focus, the more momentum. But the most important thing to understand about the way momentum works is that when you are sleeping, you have a reprieve of the momentum. In other words, your beliefs are in suspension while you sleep, which means the momentum of them, the law of attraction momentum of them, is slow to non-existent depending upon how well you are sleeping. So what that means is when you awaken in the morning, you have the opportunity to reestablish, if you want to, a vibrational starting point that law of attraction will begin to respond to right away. Now, usually when you wake up in the morning, you remember what you were thinking about yesterday, or more important, you re-achieve the emotional feeling place of what you were feeling yesterday. It's like, oh yeah, I remember I'm not happy. Or, oh yeah, I remember I'm lonely. But what we want you to realize is that you don't have to be the same lonely today that you were yesterday, because that night's sleep changed the momentum. But when you wake up in the morning and you deliberately, and you do, call those same people, talk about those same things, focus in the same ways, you reactivate your vibration much as it was before. But you do not have to do that. And that is the most important thing. We want you to realize that you are at a new starting point in every moment. But it is unlikely for you to begin to think all new thoughts when you wake up. If we can offer enough that will to stimulate within you the awareness that your point of attraction is everything, because you are the center of your universe, and that you are the perceiver of it, which means you are the vibrational interpreter of it. You translate your vibration into the reality that you are living, into what you are seeing and hearing and smelling and tasting and touching. If we can convince you that since all those things are true, that the only thing that matters to you is how you feel. If you can leave this room with a new determination within you that you now, more than ever before, care about how you feel and mean to do something about soothing yourself. Esther was on an airplane last week going from Boston back to San Antonio. And there was a beautiful family sitting in front of her, a mother and a child about 6 years old, and two little twin boys who were about 2, maybe, if even. They were walking, sort of kind of talking. And they were all strapped into their 4 seats. And Esther was sitting right behind the mother. And when the airplane took off, one of the little boys across the aisle from his mother was terrified. It was probably his first flight, and the roar of the engine, the sound of the machine, the feeling of it on the runway, he was hysterical. And he wasn't spoiled, he was hysterical. He was frightened. It was a new experience, and the power of the airplane scared him. His mother and the flight attendants looking right at his mother like, do not get out of your seat. Do not get out of your seat. And Esther is thinking, if I were that mother, I would be out of my seat now. So the airplane got in the air, and once it was stable, long after Esther thought it was stable, the flight attendant gave her the knowing nod, like, now that your child is out of oxygen. So now, Mother moved over into his seat and held him tight in her arms, just tight in her arms, kissing the back of his head and holding him tight in her arms. And gradually he settled down back into his knowing that all was well. And Esther watched that, and she said to her friend sitting next to her, I want to do that with everyone on the planet. I want them to sit on my lap, and I want to hold them in my arms, and I want to say, it's okay. It's okay. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. She wants to do it to herself. She wants to soothe herself into a point of attraction that allows her what she wants and deserves. She wants you to be soothed into a point of attraction that allows you what you want and deserve, because that is the only missing factor. How you feel, how you feel. If you're terrified, if you're angry, if you're resentful, if you're depressed, if you're aggravated, if you're overwhelmed, those negative emotions are you beating up on you. Now it doesn't feel like that to you. It feels like somebody else is doing it. Esther was pretty mad for a minute at the flight attendant who was just doing her job. But it made Esther want, with everything that she is, to just make sure that she takes care of feeling good. In other words, someone asked us the best question that has ever been asked a few weeks ago. And the question was, Abraham, how do you get rid of doubt? And we said, you get rid of it before it starts, which was so annoying. Because when you're in the middle of it, that answer doesn't apply. How do I get rid of it before it starts when I've already got it? And we say, well, eventually you're going to sleep, and you're going to get up tomorrow, and tomorrow you're going to soothe yourself better so that doubt never gets started. Doubt will never get a foothold if you're watching what you're doing. So Esther began applying that to herself. She woke up every morning with a determination that she was going to find a good feeling place and that she was going to maintain it as long as she could. And she, for the first day, she didn't even get out of bed before it was too late. The second day it was better. The third day she didn't make it through breakfast. In other words, it took quite a while of Esther caring more about how she felt than tending to emails, caring more about how she felt than tending to what was going on with other people. In other words, you've got to put yourself first. You've got to be so selfish. You have to care about how you feel, which means you have to tend to the self that you really are. You've got to find a way of closing that gap between who you're being right now and who you really are. And who you really are loves you so much, adores you, appreciates everything that you are, flows constantly to you. Last week, Esther came bouncing up the steps, and the step wasn't stable. When she stepped on it, it caved in, and her foot went between the step and the stage. Scraped up her shin. She stumbled onto the stage. It was funny. And Esther thought, for the life of me, I do not know how I went down. So Esther has a dear friend who sees energy. She always comes to the seminars in the city where she lives and sits in the back of the room because she not only likes to see the energy around Abraham, she liked to see the energy around Jerry when he was sitting at the table and the energy around you. She could actually see who was all lighted up. She knows who Abraham is likely to call on because she can read this energy. So after every workshop, she watches all of the live streams. She sends Esther an email, and she says, yeah, Jerry walked on the stage with you. And Esther says, yeah, I know. I can feel him there. And then she said, he caught you last week. And Esther thought, that's why I didn't fall down. Didn't make sense to me. I didn't have my balance. I didn't have anything close to my balance, but I didn't go down. This is the thing that we want you to understand. We've got you. But if you're not knowing that, if you're mad at yourself, then you don't let us get you. You prevent yourself from receiving the inspiration. Do you know when you yawn? That's because you need more oxygen, and we yawn you. All of you are receivers, you see. How often are you in traffic and you know to do something that prevents something that How many things do you prevent that you don't even know you prevent? So many, because you're receiving constant impulses. You are so blessed. You are so tended to. We are so aware of you, and you are so in your own way so much of the time as you're complaining about this and worrying about that. So we want you to know that you are the focal point of so much awareness, and that when you ask for something, we all know it. And we see clearly the path for you to move from where you are to where you want to be. And you know what? You want it to be a direct path. We don't. We want you to have fun along the way to the path. We want you to pick up more things along your physical trail along the path. We want you to gain more clarity along the path. We want you to continue to feel your vortex full of more things that you want along the path. Because you know why? It's a very long path. You know why? It's a path of eternity.